Have you ever stood in the middle of your own life and felt like a stranger? Surrounded by a constant hurricane of noise, a digital torrent of notifications, a never-ending to-do list, and the relentless pressure to keep moving faster and faster. In the midst of all this motion, there's a quiet ache deep within your soul. It's a profound longing for a kind of peace that the world can't seem to offer, an unshakable calm that feels perpetually just out of reach. We search for it in success, in relationships, in entertainment, but it remains elusive. What if that profound stillness wasn't something you had to chase across the globe or earn through tireless effort? What if it was something you could cultivate right where you are, in the very heart of your daily chaos? What if the key was hidden in a practice so simple, yet so powerful, that it has the ability to change the very foundation of your reality? This isn't about embracing a complex set of religious rules. It's about discovering a direct and personal line to the ultimate source of all peace. So many of us carry a heavy misconception about what prayer truly is. We imagine it as a stiff, formal, and complicated ritual, something reserved for stained glass sanctuaries on Sunday mornings or for the desperate, last resort cries in moments of absolute crisis. We are led to believe we need to have the right words, a perfect, uninterrupted silence, or be in a specific holy place for our words to even be heard. Or worse, we treat prayer like a cosmic vending machine. We insert our requests as if they were coins, press the button for a blessing, and then feel frustrated or ignored when the desired outcome doesn't immediately appear. But this transactional view completely misses the incredible, life-altering beauty of what prayer is meant to be. At its very core, prayer is simply a conversation. It's an open, honest, and intimate dialogue with God, your loving Father. It's not a performance for an audience. There's no script to memorize, no grade to be earned. He's not looking for eloquent, poetic speeches or flawless theological arguments. He is simply looking for you. He is listening for the real, unfiltered, sometimes messy thoughts of your heart. You don't have to wait until you feel worthy or have it all figured out. You can talk to him in your car during a traffic jam, while you're washing the dishes, or in the middle of a day that feels like it's falling apart. It's about authentic connection, not rigid ceremony. It's about being fully known and unconditionally loved, exactly as you are in this very moment. But that wasn't the whole story. Even when we grasp this beautiful truth, the greatest battle we face isn't about knowing how to pray, but finding the will and the way to do it consistently. The intention is almost always there. You wake up on Monday, filled with renewed determination to start a new routine, to finally build that consistent, life-giving connection. But then the alarm goes off a little late. The kids need breakfast, the dog needs to go out, an urgent email pops up, and suddenly it's noon. You tell yourself, I'll do it later, but later becomes evening, and by then, you're mentally and physically exhausted. You promise to start fresh tomorrow, and the cycle of well-intentioned procrastination repeats. The true enemy of a prayerful life isn't doubt. It's the relentless drift of a busy schedule. Days melt into weeks, and that quiet connection you longed for feels more distant than ever. This is the point where so many people give up, feeling defeated and spiritually out of shape. They believe they simply lack the discipline. But the secret isn't a grand, heroic, hour-long commitment. It's about starting impossibly small. It's about creating a tiny, unbreakable anchor in the sea of your day. Just 5 minutes. That's it. Find a 5-minute slot that you can fiercely protect, perhaps right when you wake up before your feet hit the floor, or just before you drift off to sleep. The location doesn't have to be special, but making it consistent helps build the habit. This 5-minute anchor isn't about solving all your problems. It's about building a rhythm. It's about showing up. This small act of consistency builds a powerful spiritual muscle, proving to yourself that this connection is a priority. What followed next for those who embraced this simple habit was even more remarkable. The familiar struggle of what to say during that quiet time, that feeling of awkward silence, began to fade away. It's a common hurdle. You finally carve out the time, you sit in silence, and your mind goes completely blank. What am I supposed to talk about? Am I doing this right? A simple guide can be immensely helpful here, not as a rigid rulebook, but as a gentle prompt to start the conversation flowing. Think of it with the simple acronym ACTS. A is for adoration. This is where you simply praise God for who He is, not just for what He's done for you. Reflect on His nature, His creativity seen in a sunset, His faithfulness through difficult seasons, His unending love that pursues you. Just spending a minute here shifts your entire perspective from your problems to His power. C is for confession. This isn't about shame or dwelling on your flaws. It's about refreshing honesty. It's about acknowledging the times you chose anxiety over trust or judgment over compassion, and asking for His gentle guidance to get back on the right path. It's a moment of realignment, of turning your heart back toward His. T is for thanksgiving. This is a powerful, transformative practice. Instead of only thinking about what you need, you consciously and specifically thank Him for what you already have. Get granular. Thank Him for the warmth of your coffee, for a kind word from a stranger, for the food on your table, for the very breath in your lungs. Gratitude physically rewires your brain to see the countless blessings that are already scattered throughout your day. And finally, S is for supplication. This is where you bravely and vulnerably bring your needs, your fears, your worries, and the needs of others to Him. You lay your burdens down, trusting that He is listening, He cares deeply, and He is able to carry them with you. However, there was more to come. Using a framework like this is just the launch pad. It opens the door to a much deeper, more profound level of communication that many people unfortunately miss entirely. We are so conditioned to speak, to perform, to fill every moment of silence with our own words, requests, and thoughts, that we forget prayer is a two-way conversation. The most transformative part of prayer is not found in the speaking. It's discovered in the listening. This is often the most difficult and uncomfortable step for us in our noisy, fast-paced world. We ask for guidance, for peace, for an answer, and then we are met with silence. This perceived silence can be incredibly discouraging, can make you feel like you're talking into a void, that your prayers are hitting the ceiling. But we must understand that God's voice is rarely a booming, audible sound from the heavens. His answers come in quieter, more nuanced forms. It might manifest as a sudden sense of unexplainable peace that settles over your anxious heart in the middle of a crisis. It might be a creative solution or a fresh perspective on a problem you've been wrestling with for weeks. It could be a specific Bible verse that seems to leap off the page and speak directly into your situation. Or, so often, it might be His love delivered through human hands, the right person showing up at the right time with the exact encouragement or help you needed to hear. Cultivating the ability to listen requires you to intentionally create moments of quiet. After you've spoken, just wait, be still, be present. It's in this shared, expectant silence with God that the deepest roots of true inner peace begin to grow and take hold. The underlying cause of the incredible transformation that follows is this newfound ability to listen and be still in His presence. The change that happens in your life is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, and then it becomes undeniable. The storms of life don't magically disappear. You will still face challenges, heartaches, and seasons of uncertainty. Bills will still be due, relationships will still be complicated, and bad news will still arrive at your doorstep. But your fundamental response to it all is what changes. You now have an anchor in the storm. Instead of being violently tossed around by the waves of panic and anxiety, you have a deep internal well of peace to draw from. When chaos erupts around you, you discover a strange and supernatural sense of calm within you. When faced with a difficult decision, you feel a quiet, intuitive guidance leading you toward wisdom. This inner peace doesn't stay locked away inside you. It begins to ripple out into every area of your life, touching everyone you interact with. Your family notices you're less reactive and more present. Your colleagues find you to be a more steady and reassuring presence in a stressful workplace. You start to see the world not as a series of threats to be managed, but as a place filled with divine appointments and opportunities to experience God's grace. Your consistent prayer life doesn't just change your private moments, it transforms your public presence. You become a conduit of the very peace you have been so desperately seeking for others. The situation then escalates from a personal practice into a powerful force for good in the world around you. That quiet, consistent connection becomes your secret strength, an invisible foundation that holds you steady no matter what gales may blow on the surface of your life. We've journeyed from seeing prayer as a daunting chore to understanding it as an intimate conversation. We've seen how to overcome the universal battle for consistency by starting with a simple, manageable 5-minute anchor. We've learned how to talk to God when we don't have the words and, most importantly, how to listen for His quiet answers in the stillness. This journey leads to a peace that isn't fleeting or dependent on circumstances. It's a deep, abiding presence in the very core of your soul. So think about this. What if the unshakable peace you are searching for is not going to be found by changing your job, your relationships, or your location? What if it's waiting for you right now, in the stillness you've been avoiding? It's not locked behind a grand cathedral door or reserved for spiritual giants. It's accessible to you, right now, in the quiet space of a simple, honest conversation. The entire journey to a life of profound inner peace begins not with a loud declaration or a grand gesture, but with a single whispered word.